5G is both very boring as well as very exciting, okay? So the boring part is it is 10 times better than 4G. And 4G was 10 times better than 3G, 3G 10 times better than 2G. So that's kind of a boring development. So the exciting part is that this 10 times better than 4G allows us to do things which before we weren't able to do at all. So now we're going down in terms of the latency, so the delay you experience as a user between, your mobile phone and some service you're using, which is now down to a millisecond. So before you needed 10 milliseconds, but a millisecond is very interesting because it starts to go into our cognitive kind of perception. So it turns out that everything which happens very quickly, you perceive that as immediate. So this feeling that I'm here with you sitting, I have that feeling of immediacy. You don't have that feeling when you watch Skype. And the reason is because the delay is very large. Now with 5G, that latency goes down and suddenly you can do totally new things like, synchronized realities. You're bringing environments together at very, very, very high low latency. So that's one thing. The other thing we can do is with the high bandwidth, we can suddenly transmit, virtual reality almost uncompressed. So very, very high degree of immersion. So that's what 5G can do. And then you can connect loads of devices. So we talk about the emerging Internet of Things where you connect sensors and actuators which control your home or measure the temperature within your car. So we can scale this up and suddenly have a totally automated ecosystem powered by 5G. So that is what you see from the front, what you see as a consumer. Now from the back end, there's a big revolution going on because suddenly 5G is not only about hardware and boxes and antennas, it's actually a lot about software. So you see a 5G system running here in my background, and these are standard Dell servers, and all the interesting software we wrote is actually written in as virtual machines on top. So we can very cheaply deploy 5G systems, and one of the big advantages of 5G versus 4G is it's much cheaper to run. Look, we always, as engineers who design the system, we always differentiate between two speeds. One is the peak theoretical speed, and one is what you would experience, right? So the one you're interested in is the average experience speed. So let's go into the year now 2022 as an example. Loads of people are on 5G. What's your average experience? Well, so it will be 10 times better than 4G. So today, if you have a 10 megabit per second up and download, you will probably with 5G will be on 100 megabits per second, okay? And in a good day, at midnight maybe, if you're in a suburban area close to a 5G base station, yes, you can do 1 gigabit per second, and yes, you can do 10 gigabit per second. The system is ready to handle that type of data rate, right? But I always say, if you get 100 megabits per second, that's kind of the average 5G speed we would expect. And it's amazing. You can download, you can do stuff you've never been even able to do with your fiber connection, right? So we're talking about downloading films within, milliseconds, right? So it's great, I love it. 5G will be available very soon now in 2019, we hope. We have we at King's College London has deployed together with Ericsson the UK's first 5G system on top of this roof here, and some of the services are running here in the back. Now we need the commercial equipment to be deployed, so you need two ends. You need the base station equipment and you need the mobile phone equipment. So the base station equipment, the operators made loads of announcements in the UK, in the United States and Asia that by middle of this year, 2019, there's going to be a lot of deployment of 5G enabled equipment on the roofs. But then there are the handset manufacturers. They need to make their choice. When are they going to actually start selling 5G mobile phones? And the chips are being finalized right now as we speak. So we expect now that probably by middle of 2019, we will see the very first 5G smartphones. And so hopefully by mid-2019, end 2019, beginning 2020, we'll have deployments in cities, and then it will scale up into the more suburban and then rural areas. So 5G is a bit a system of systems. We call this salad system, right? So it will encompass your current 2G, 3G, 4G systems and add now the 5G layer on top. So it's not bulletproof, so you will still experience quite a lot of, not quite a lot, you will experience essentially 10 times less outages, okay? So if in 2018 you had 10 Facebook live failures, you will have maybe one, or if you're lucky, you have 0. So it will get better, but it will not disappear because there's always a capacity problem. People will start, using the technology, will see how great it is, it will drive demand, and the moment you have then demand, you have a supply problem again. So it's always kind of going like that, right? So in Europe, we're not, if you drive to you fly to the United States or you go to Asia, you sit on a train, and you see people actually watching live CNBC or Chinese television, whatever. We don't have that in Europe, right? We don't have that. We barely use the live kind of capabilities. But the moment 5G is out, everybody's like, oh, wow, this is great. I have no interruption, big data plans, let's do it. And then that will drive essentially the demand, will drive the supply problem. So I would say it will get much better, but it will not disappear.